The content in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be medical advice, a diagnosis, or a treatment plan for any individual. Listening to this podcast does not establish a doctor-patient relationship. Always consult your own qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your health, medication, or lifestyle. By choosing to listen further, you acknowledge and agree to these terms.
Welcome to Feeling Good Feels Good with Dr. Tripp.
Welcome to a state of feeling good. It's how we live and how you could. Just know it's how we're all meant to be. If things are off, listen to your body. It can tell us exactly what we need. Physical, emotional, nutritional, or mentally. No need to worry, it's reached accessibly. No matter how you felt or what you've heard, well-being's for everyone, it's what you deserve. Ease and joy are yours once it's understood. No need to fear, because feeling good feels good.
Welcome into Feeling Good Feels Good. I am your host, Dr. Tripp. This is the podcast where we discuss total wellness and outright wellness. We look at wellness through four major lenses: physical health, mental emotional health, chemical nutritional health, and habit, lifestyle, and environmental health. These next two episodes are going to actually be on the same subject. When I was researching this subject, there was just too much information that was so helpful that I couldn't condense it all into one episode. It's also about something that we do every single day, hopefully for 8 hours. It's something I talk about with nearly every single patient. If you didn't read the title of the podcast you're listening to, or you haven't guessed it already, it's about sleep. So in this first episode, we're going to talk about some common trends in sleep, what the bar is set for in terms of sleep right now. We're going to go through some statistics on how most people are sleeping. We are going to talk about why sleep is so important, how it affects your brain, your digestion, your muscles, your nerves, literally every single thing in your body. There might be some depressing statistics about how most Americans are actually sleeping and how it affects them in their life. We're going to break down the different parts of sleep. What's happening in your brain when you're actually sleeping. This episode is going to go through what to do during your day to set yourself up for better sleep at night. We're also going to go through a sleep routine. This is probably the best part of this episode, is we're actually going to help you build your own sleep routine and not just a one-size-fits-all. We're going to go through options based on your preference, what you have access to, and what just helps you relax and unwind. Episode 2 is going to get into what to do while you're sleeping. What do I do while I'm sleeping? Well, what should be happening around you while you're sleeping? We're going to set up your environment, talk about your sleep posture, talk about what to do if you wake up in the middle of the night, identify why you might be waking up depending on when you do it, what it feels like, and what you're thinking about. And we're going to give you tools to help you fall back asleep based on what's actually waking you up. We're going to talk about some common sleep trends, what works and what doesn't. Now, with all that said, let's dive in. What percent of Americans do you think are actually getting 8 hours of sleep? 26%. Only about a quarter of Americans are getting 8 hours of sleep, and 20% of US adults claim to get 5 hours or less of sleep each night. And no, that is not normal. That number has grown by 14% just in the last 10 years. 35% of adults claim to get less than 7 hours of sleep. 50 to 70 million Americans live with a sleep disorder. You or somebody you know is probably living without adequate sleep. 30% of adults report occasional insomnia, and 12% have chronic insomnia. They have lack of sleep, little to no sleep every single night. That means 12 out of every 100 people. And out of those 100 people, only 25 of them are getting 8 hours of sleep. Lack of sleep leads to increased obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, weakened immune systems, poor mental health, higher likelihood of workplace and driving accidents, as well as lack of physical recovery and increased likelihood of physical injuries. Athletes, did you hear that? So who's not sleeping? Women tend to report more sleep issues than men. Lower income areas and rural populations are disproportionately affected by lack of sleep. Younger adults, ages 18 to 29, have the worst sleep habits. Maybe this is due to cell phone use, but maybe when you're younger, you can kind of get away with this stuff a little bit more. Parents, caregivers, and shift workers are also increasingly vulnerable to sleep issues. So why don't we sleep? Let's look at some of the most common reasons why we are lacking sleep. You guessed it, stress is on the list. With stress, we have increased cortisol production. Cortisol increases our heart rate and increases our blood sugar. With chronic stress, this stays elevated longer later into the day and reduces our ability to unwind and relax. Racing thoughts, intrusive thinking, or anxiety about the next day are common reasons people stay in high alert when we want to be shutting down. Believe it or not, one of the most commonly reported reasons for not sleeping adequately is actually linked to revenge and rebellion. People feel overloaded by the demands of their day and experience frustration with lack of autonomy over their own time. This leads to people staying up for later hours as a way to take control of their own life and have some personal time. I was surprised to find this as well. We might see people streaming, doom scrolling, or confusing distraction from relaxation. Technology addiction is a big piece of the puzzle. Lights from technology can limit or delay sleep onset. We're going to talk a lot more about this in episode 2 of the sleep series. Devices also trigger dopamine feedback loops. This keeps the brain overstimulated when it should be winding down. And oftentimes, when we are winding down, we feel another need for a dopamine hit, like checking the phone, looking for notifications. And the fourth most common reason was discomfort, both physically in terms of the person's own body, as well as the environment that they are sleeping in. This could be temperature, too hot, too cold, lack of darkness, too much noise. It could be chronic pain, restlessness, restless leg syndrome, or just an overall body rhythm that doesn't know when to shut down. So let's talk about why sleep is so important. It's not just rest, it's actually repair for your body. It's like taking your body to the shop every night and going through a full body repair. One of the most important things is brain cleansing. Yes, sleep actually cleans out your brain. During deep sleep, the brain's extracellular space, the space outside the cells, expands by almost 60%. This allows cerebrospinal fluid to move and clear out waste, things like amyloid beta, linked to Alzheimer's, as well as metabolic byproducts. Think about waste from your metabolism working all day. With adequate sleep, your brain cells will actually shrink to make room for this deep clean. Athletes and weightlifters, growth hormone is secreted mostly during sleep. So if you want strong muscles, you have to sleep. Muscle fibers are repaired, and one of the things that I see as most important is inflammation is reduced. One way that I can check in with somebody if inflammation is a part of their dysfunction is, does this get better with sleep? It's a great way to tell if you have an inflammatory process causing you to feel pain, brain fog, indigestion, or dysfunction somewhere. If your dysfunction gets worse over the day and then reduced by restful sleep, that is a sign of an inflammatory process. So without sleep, you are not able to reduce inflammation to the level that your body needs. Digestion. Your digestive tract moves food and waste while you sleep. Poor sleep can result in sluggish digestion, bloating, and poor elimination of waste. If you can start to see a theme of your body clearing itself out, then you're on the right track with starting to understand one of the main reasons why sleep is so important. Blood sugar regulation is disrupted with poor sleep. Your body may rely on cortisol spikes, sugar cravings to provide you with more energy, setting you up for a cycle of stress, crashing, restlessness, and poor sleep. Poor sleep can actually make you more hungry. During sleep, our hunger hormones are balanced. This, along with energy regulation, can limit food cravings. So if you're somebody who struggles with food cravings and overeating, sleep is essential for breaking those cycles. What if you never sleep? What would break first? So day 1 to 2, you might feel a little groggy or extremely groggy. Day 3 to 4, your short memory would go in the tank. You would forget your keys. You would forget people's names or where you parked your car. Your emotional reactivity would go way up. You might find yourself overreacting emotionally. You might find yourself getting really angry or sad or crying or having extreme outbursts. Day 5 to 7, you would have extreme loss of coordination and muscle health. You would be very weak, falling down, losing your balance, stubbing your toe on everything, and just overall feeling a lack of coordination. The gut would slow down and almost completely stop. You would lose your ability to go to the bathroom. So if you're having trouble going to the bathroom regularly, check in with your sleep. By 2 weeks, your immune system would completely crash, mood disorders, full-blown hallucinations, and extreme anxiety. You'd likely be crying and confused and be unrecognizable from your own self. This is likely where things would shut down and come to a head in some form. There would be no other choice other than to go to sleep. So what are the things you can do during the day to support your sleep? Morning light. Morning light is one of the most important things you can do to set yourself up for nighttime. When you see the sun in the morning, yes, even overcast, even cloudy days, that still counts. Getting morning light triggers something called your suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is your master circadian clock, your master clock for your rhythm to help you wake up and have energy throughout the day and shut down and rest at night. Our bodies crave rhythm. So waking up at the same time or close to the same time every morning is also essential for a healthy sleep cycle. Moving your body during the day boosts your slow wave sleep at night. Of course, healthy food, having complex carbohydrates and healthy fats are two of the best ways to balance your blood sugar to reduce nighttime waking. And if you're somebody who wakes up at the same time every night, like 3 a.m., wide awake, you want to listen to episode 2. We're going to discuss the 2 different ways that may be occurring and how to solve it. Lastly, play, laughter, and joy actually help your body release a hormone called oxytocin, which is known as the love hormone. When released regularly, this will help your body feel safe, shutting down at the end of the day. Okay, now the fun stuff. How do I build my nighttime routine? The first thing you want to do is understand what time you have to wake up the next day. And then I want you to subtract 8 hours and 15 minutes from that time. This is your lights out time. Everything else is done. All you're doing is sleeping. For example, if your alarm goes off at 6:30, 10:15 p.m. is your lights out time. No more stuff, nothing else other than sleep. The extra 15 minutes can account for bathroom trips or sleep disturbances. Now, let's subtract 30 to 60 more minutes, which would leave us around 9:15 or 9:45. With this extra 30 to 60 minutes, choose 2 activities that are most accessible to you, that you know you're going to stick with, and bring you the most calm. Picking activities that are easy for you to do and easy for you to stick to are way more beneficial than picking the one that sounds like it would have the biggest benefit. Consistency is the most important. Some examples are reading for 15 minutes, taking a bath for 25 minutes, meditation for 12 minutes, stretching or yoga for 10 to 15 minutes, and choose to shut down your machines. When the wind down time begins, put your phone in a separate place. If you're using a meditation app or a video for stretching or some resource for wind down, put it on Do Not Disturb. It's okay if you're using it. I'm less concerned about using your phone for something like this than I am about the light from the phone being on while you're sleeping, or having social media or a distracted activity being the last thing you do. So phones do not get 100% banned from this process. We just need to use them as a different tool for winding down than we do for productivity or distraction during the day. One of the best mindset shifts you can do is forgive your day or see it as completed. You cannot go back. You have done what you could. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely and with too high of a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense. This helps us shift from guilt, shame, fear, regret, or anxiousness to self-compassion and restfulness. When you're first getting started, it's hard to do this every single night if you've never done it before. Start out with just 2 nights. In week 2, add a 3rd night. And in week 3, try to do this 4 nights out of the 7 nights of the week. And then after a month, this should be your weeknight routine every night. And you should shoot to do this 5 to 7 nights out of the week. Because remember, consistency is key. And you will mess up. You will have a night out. You will stay up late for something. You will have an emergency. Something will come up. But getting back to this and building this as your strong foundational base is the most key thing. So don't be dissuaded when you have a night where you don't follow this process. That is going to happen. That is absolutely okay. And what the most important step can be is actually getting back on track after missing a night. And we need to start shifting our mindset around sleep and stop seeing it as a luxury that we get once in a while and understand that it's a biological requirement, just like breathing. So today we looked at why we don't sleep, who doesn't sleep, what to do during the daytime, and what to do during the night to get ready for sleep to help build you a healthy cycle. Part 2 is going to be even more focused into building your environment for sleep, what's going on in your brain during sleep, and how to identify which sleep disruptive patterns apply to you and how to correct them. Now that we have the data and the foundation and the base around sleep out of the way, I can't wait to just jump in to all of this really helpful information in our next episode of Feeling Good Feels Good.